Good day, everyone. My name is Mallica Reynolds. I'm a student at Nova Southeastern University, and this presentation is being done as a part of my leadership course for summer 2020. The title is Title 9, and I'll be looking at subtitle Everyone's Responsibility. This is our table of content. I will give a brief overview of the organization, take a look at what Title 9 really is, present a scenario/dilemma, show the effects on the organization, the leadership's response, and then we're going to have a brief discussion and analysis as well as a conclusion/lessons learned, and provide some resources. As we dive into the topic, you'll find out that resources become very important, especially when other organizations may go through a similar circumstance. Organization's profile. I'll be taking a look at Nova Southeastern University. And Nova Southeastern University is a private not-for-profit research university located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Nova Southeastern University has been around for about 50 plus years, and they record over 25,000 plus students, primarily graduate students, although they're trying to grow their undergrad student population at this time. They offer numerous degrees, I believe between 50 to 60 different type of majors, and they specialize in bachelor's, master's, and up to the doctoral or PhD level type of degrees. They also receive and issue federal funds, and we'll see why this is important later in the presentation. And so they're subject to Title IX regulations. They also have publicly announced their core values as a university. And their core values are listed here on the screen. You can take a look at them and peruse over them. But the dilemma or the situation that I'm going to review are going to be taking a look specifically at the three highlighted core values: student-centered, being student-centered, displaying integrity, and then also the whole matter of community. The others are sprinkled into it, but these three areas are the main focus of the dilemma slash scenario. So what is Title IX? Basically, the federal government has regulations that govern schools that actually issue funds to students, whether it be for financial aid, housing, for books, for tuition, and so forth. And so when the Civil Rights Act took place, they later came back and made amendments and made provisions that would cover how people deal with sexual orientation and discrimination that's based on your sexuality and based on your gender. And so Title IX protects discrimination that would be focused on your gender, or what we commonly call your sex. And then particularly what we're going to be dealing with is focusing on preventing or responding to sexual harassment or sexual assault type of issues. In additionally, it requires that there's a timely reporting. So a student cannot have reported that they got sexually assaulted and the university waits 3 months, 6 months, or so forth before they report the incident. It needs to be done in a timely manner. And if there's still a possibility that that can happen to someone else, they also need to make the wider community aware of the possibility that someone may be in danger. So in our scenario dilemma today, and the names have been changed and some of the facts have been left out in order to protect the student and in order to protect their identity. So Amy is a 17-year-old freshman. She came in from another state and came to Fort Lauderdale in order to complete her undergraduate degree, first time in college. I was actually an excellent student. She started out as an A student, and within a few weeks, her grades started slipping and she became a C student. It's reported that she attempted suicide and that she had somehow been raped by a professor. The story was told, or the report was given, that she actually finished class one day, stayed behind to speak to the professor and ask them about a particular theory. The professor had convinced her to actually go and have a cup of coffee. This transpired over several weeks, and the coffee turned into having something after class, whether it be lunch or dinner. And then this eventually turned into the student actually going to the professor's house to discuss a project. When the student got to the professor's house, it's reported that the student was actually raped by the professor. And this is what led to the attempted suicide. Once that was done, at some point in time, weeks later, a report was made to the police, and at this time, the parents were heavily involved in the whole situation. After it was reported and an investigation ensued, the university was notified as to what had happened. Again, this was weeks after it had taken place, and it was actually found that the professor didn't actually rape the student, even though it was not consensual. The student was 17 and it needed to be 18 to actually consent. So it was still sex with a minor. Um, that came out full force weeks after it was originally reported. And so we found out that there was an ongoing thing between them, as we described earlier, with lunch and all that good stuff. And so the parents, as I said, was heavily involved, and the university, as well as the professor, was sued by the parents. And the school was accused of inaction and accused of providing insufficient resources to protect students against such issues taking place. These are charges to be laid against a school. It could, potentially cause a real downfall, especially with the Title IX funding and those requirements. So the university, once they knew, they went into action mode, doing press control to prevent student panic, to protect the reputation and the ratings of the school, to prevent against criticisms from competitors, because being a private not-for-profit university, there's a lot of competitors out there would glad to see the university fail in order for them to increase their numbers, and then also to deal with the faculty and staff shock if this should also take place. So numerous effects on the organization as a whole. So the leadership originally ignored the issue because, of course, it was reported, as being under investigation. They felt like it was classified incorrectly, and then they decided just to release an internal statement. When the criticism started to increase and the panic started to increase among staffing and faculty, they eventually created a task force and started offering free workshop. And then this still was not enough and did not deal with the situation to abate the tension that was taking place. So they went ahead and they hired a dedicated Title IX staff, Title IX office, in order to deal with these issues, that portal that it could be reported. Later on, you'll see in the resources, those websites that the issues can be reported immediately and someone takes immediate actions. So then when you think about this whole situation, we understand that there's a need to protect the students, to protect the reputation. I call it the 5 Ps: protect resources, protect improvements, or promise improvements rather, and to promote change. So that's protect the student, protect the reputation, provide resources, promise improvement, and promote change. So these are the 5 Ps that every organization, when they deal with these type of issues, needs to make sure that they touch on it. And for the most part, Nova Southeastern University did touch on most of these 5 Ps. In addition, whenever there's a crisis or any type of problem solving action, it's important that the persons dealing with or the organization's leadership establish some type of credibility, that they act as a spokesperson, not just for the university, but also for the victim in a case like this, or to see that they're advocates for change no matter what the crisis is. To reconnect with the vision, so they have to reconnect. That's where the core values come in, that we are student-centered, that we are a place of integrity, and that we do promote a wholesome community. Then there's always damage. So rebuilding the image, fostering resilience is also important, because others may have gone through it or maybe going through similar situations. And then to also promote healing where healing is needed, and to also learn from the experience. It can't be overstated that learning is extremely important, because learning is going to determine future policy, how you choose future leaders, and how you even enhance the programs that have been put in place, such as that Title IX office that we described earlier. So my conclusion, lessons learned from this crisis and from this situation, is that crisis will come. No matter what kind of organization you are, how perfect you are, there is going to be some type of crisis that will take place. But your response is what is really important. It must always be correct. Leaders have a role to resolve these challenges, not just to see them and say, oh, they're going to play out, or the police force or the authorities will take hold of it, but you have to be actively involved in solving those crises and those challenges. There's no cookie cutter approach. So one crisis here, similar crisis over there, you may not have the same response to each of them. And organizations must value their members and seek out resources to support those members. So here's a list of resources: the Department of Education, the Florida Department of Education, the Title IX offices that I spoke about, as well as emergency numbers established where you can call and make anonymous or direct reports. There's RAIN, which is an advocacy group which advocates for victims of sexual assault. as well as there's Broward County resources and a rape hotline that can be used to report these type of situations. My references have been submitted in a separate document, so please feel free to take a look at that and peruse it. And I'd like to thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Hopefully something stuck out from the lessons learned and from this particular situation that could help somebody. Please feel free to submit your questions, comments, or concerns to mallica@nova.edu. I'll be more than happy to try and answer them. And if you are somebody who's in crisis or who have experienced these negative atrocities, I hope that you would reach out to somebody or reach out to some of the resources that I have saved on this page. Thank you so much for participating and for listening to my presentation. Have a good day. Take care.